For centuries, we built on land we assumed was permanent. But the horizon is rising. Our defenses, once symbols of strength, have become a desperate holding action against an unstoppable tide. The question was no longer if the water would claim our shores, but how we would choose to live with it.
The answer required a radical shift in perspective, a departure from fighting the ocean to floating upon it.
The site was chosen not for its land, but for its sheltered waters and deep-sea anchoring potential. First, we had to understand the canvas. The seabed's composition would dictate the very nature of our anchor. The foundation was not driven into the earth. It was the earth, a modular post-tension concrete honeycomb designed to flex with the swells. Each module, a kilometer in circumference, was born at sea, a seed from which a new ecosystem would grow. They were connected not with rigid steel, but with dynamic, shock-absorbing locks, allowing the city to breathe with the ocean's rhythms. The skeleton was in place. Now, the city would be built, not on land, but on the very element it sought to coexist with. The first line of defense was not a wall. Vertical mooringlets tensioned the city in place without restricting its vertical movement. These are not anchors in the traditional sense. They are dynamic tethers, absorbing the energy of megastorms that would shatter a static structure. Construction was a ballet of logistics. Entire city blocks were prefabricated on land and floated into place. Beneath the streets and plazas lies a neural network. Utilities carries fresh water, waste movement data, all designed for modular repair. Fresh water is drawn from the very sea we float on, filtered by a facility that also serves as a public aquarium, turning necessity into education. Food sovereignty was paramount. These vertical farms, powered by the sun and cooled by the sea, produce 80% of the city's nutrition.
The heart of the city is not a traditional city hall, but a power station.
Transportation is silent, electric, and autonomous. Canals serve as the city's highways, while the upper decks are pedestrian-only sanctuaries. The perimeter was designed not to repel life, but to nurture it. Mangroves and artificial reefs absorb wave energy while creating a new marine habitat.
These outer breakwater rings absorb fury, transforming a destructive force into a manageable one.
From the Nexus, every system is monitored and balanced by an AI-driven capable of predicting and neutralizing imbalances before they become crises. Restoration, creating a reef complex that rivals natural marine reserves in biodiversity. Light pollution is controlled, turning the sky back into a celestial canvas. The city breathes with the natural cycle of day and night. The ocean's megafauna have not just accepted the structure, they have adopted it as a part of their environment. Every surface was multifunctional. Roofs collect water and energy, facades filter air, and streets manage runoff. Construction materials evolved. The city now builds with biocement grown from the ocean itself, creating a closed-loop system for maintenance and expansion. With stability came culture. The city became a beacon, not just of survival, but of a new way of living. The city did not replace the old ways. It existed in symbiosis, sharing power and water with mainland communities threatened by the same rising tides. The first true test came not from time, but from nature's fury. A storm that would level a conventional city. While the land-based world braced for impact, the city did what it was designed to do. It rode out the storm. In the aftermath, the world finally understood. This wasn't a refuge, it was a blueprint.
A kilo of oranges, please.
Coming right up, that'll be 3 credit. And resilient infrastructure. The city became the world's foremost center for marine science, drawing the brightest minds to solve the problems of a changing planet.
Adjusting now, Kai.
I could get used to this gentle rocking.
Yeah, it's so peaceful. And the food is wonderful, darling. Cheers, everyone.
The city's role expanded. Its manufacturing capabilities turned it into a logistical hub.
Even recreation was reimagined. Why build a park on land when you can build one on the sea, connecting people to the environment they protect?
Arrival is a moment of awe. You don't approach a city. You approach a living organism.
Expansion meant diversifying energy. Tidal and deep current turbines now provide a baseload that is as reliable as the Earth's rotation. The city's modular nature meant it could grow organically, adding new districts and functions as its population and influence expanded.
Governance evolved. Laws were no longer about land rights, but about shared resources, environmental stewardship.
Even waste was redesigned. The concept of pollution was engineered out of the system, replaced circular model where...
Update on the Global Expansion Initiative. The Neo-Kyoto floating city is now 70% complete.
It became a crossroads, a place where the wisdom of ancient seafaring cultures met the ingenuity of modern engineering.
The architecture itself became a living system, purifying the air, providing food, and insulating the structures.
The city's digital heart rests in the deep, cooled by the same element that powers its physical resilience.
A generation grew up here. For them, the concept of a static, land-based city is a historical curiosity.
Art and nature merged. The city's aesthetic was not imposed, but cultivated.
The ultimate validation came during the king tides. While coastal cities flooded, the city simply rose with the...
Based on the evidence presented, the pattern is unmistakable. We must consider the long-term societal impact of this precedent.
This contradicts the earlier report.
Material science closed the loop. The city became a net consumer of ocean plastic, turning a pollutant into a resource.
From this vantage, you see the full picture. Not a fortress against the sea, but a conversation with it.
Energy independence was fully realized. The city became a producer of green hydrogen, fueling not only itself.
I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
What began as a solution to a local problem became a global movement. A new paradigm for
Tradition was not forgotten. It was integrated. The skills of our seafaring ancestors found new purpose in this modern age.
The greatest achievement of the engineers was not what they built, but what they allowed to grow. The city.
They did not abandon the land. They became its stewards, preserving its memory and its potential for the future.
This was the proof of concept, a blueprint not just for survival, but for thriving in the age of the rising sea. Decades passed. The city was no longer an experiment. It was an established metropolis with its own history, culture, and identity.
What was once cutting-edge engineering became a museum piece, a reminder of the ingenuity of the founding generation.
The city expanded its ecological reach, cultivating vast kelp forests that sequestered carbon at a rate 10 times that of...
The city's very bones began to change. Second and third generation infrastructure was not built.
They learned to not just withstand the elements, but to moderate them. The city became a tool for regional climate stabilization.
The city became humanity's permanent outpost in the ocean, a base for exploring the last great frontier on Earth.
The modular concept proved infectious, and groups began creating their own floating homesteads.
Is that where Grandpa lived?
Yes, son. It was a beautiful city.
From the sea, humanity once again looked to the stars.
The architects of the 23rd century laid the foundation for the metropolis you see today.
But how did they power the original shields?
A new culture of maritime sport and recreation flourished, leveraging the city's unique infrastructure and connection to the water. The city became a modern-day Noah's Ark, preserving the biodiversity of a planet in flux. The blueprint was shared freely. What started as one city became a global network, a decentralized solution to a planetary challenge.
The vision of a few became the reality for millions. A network of floating cities connected.
In the quiet moments, the city's true nature revealed itself. It was not a structure imposed on nature, but a partnership with it.
The torch is passed. The future is yours, engineer.
This is the new story of humanity. Not of conquering nature, but of living with it. Not of walls, but of anchors.
It is as beautiful as ever. He would be proud.
We are proud to continue his legacy, Mother.